forever, for 10 years he was working on this. And he wanted to tell the story of his dad's life, but through the eyes of a son, looking to understand his father through the fans, through the people that touched his life, particularly people whose lives changed because of Star Trek. And we saw the potential in this and hurried to partner with him. Very, very proud of this film. We're going to show you a clip. Again, straight from the edit phase, so it's not done, but we really wanted to show you a sneak peek of it. So here's the scene from Trek Nation.
When he first came up with the idea, he had about 12 pages, and he shoved them across the desk at me and said, "Read this and tell me what you think." And I said, "Okay," and I took it home, and I really liked it, and I came back and I said, "Who's going to play Spock?"
You had an interest in the character right off?
Right away, yeah.
They produced a pilot called The Cage.
Check the circuit. All operating, sir. Copy the screen then.
It begins on the bridge of a recognizable Starship Enterprise, commanded by Captain Christopher Pike, played by the late Jeff Hunter.
There's still something out there.
I put a woman second in command of our starship.
All decks are ready, sir.
And I had written in another character who wasn't even human.
Spock here.
An alien who looked like Satan himself, complete with pointy ears.
Brains 3 times the size of ours. If we start buzzing about down there, we're liable to find their mental power is so great, they could reach out and swat this ship as over a fly.
It's Captain Pike they've got.
It was about the captain being captured by aliens and placed into a cage, like an animal cage. And then these aliens were able to play tricks with his mind, put him in these other alternate realities, while at the same time he was actually still trapped in the cage.
But we're not here, neither of us. We're in a menagerie, a cave. Peculiar species.
My father was making statements back then that you can't just cage up a human and trick them into thinking that they've got freedom. People want freedom. People want the freedom to think, to move, to act, to do whatever they want.
Comic-Con, please welcome Roddenberry.
It's been a journey. It's really been a journey.
So tell us, what did you learn on this trek, your trek, to learn about your dad? What was the biggest thing that inspired you the most about your father?
Throughout the years since his passing, I've learned so much, but I mean, one of the most important things was to really humanize my father. You know, when I started this out, I didn't know what I was going to learn. He passed away when I was 17, and he was more of an authority figure. People call him the great bird of the galaxy, but I didn't get it. And it was during this journey that I kind of found out, you know, who the man was behind the myth, and what the Star Trek thing was all about. So in interviewing these fans, these friends, family, celebrities in the industry, I really got to get a unique perspective on who he was. And it was important to hear all these stories and to hear the good with the bad, because it was a man I didn't know when I started. And as I heard these stories, it started to humanize him, and I could identify with him. And I could see his faults and his follies, as well as his amazing achievements. And it was something that I could really bond with, something that I could connect with. And it's an opportunity that I don't think very many of us get, to explore a parent in this way.
Might be a tough question for you, but was there anything you learned along your journey that was painful, that you didn't want to know?
It was important to hear the bad. I certainly didn't seek out and try to find the negative side. But as I said before, I really wanted to humanize him. So I didn't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. I wanted people to come up to me and say, "I didn't like your dad for this reason." And we didn't hear too much of that, but it was great to hear it when I did, because, you know, so many people put him up on this pedestal that it was great to get this balance. And my hope was, not only would I be able to identify with him if he was brought down to I know we all know he was human, but for the people who revere him so much, it was important to really sort of look at him eye to eye, so to speak, and appreciate him as a normal human being with amazing ideas and amazing passion. And my hope is that people who see this will walk away thinking like, hey, he's like one of us. That means any one of us can do this. We all have passion. Let's do it.
Is there anything that you see in yourself that reminds you of your father, your memories of your father?
That's a tough question. I would like to say, while I'm extremely flawed, that on my good days I have a real appreciation for humanity. I am able to see the good as well as the bad. I do have hope for us. I don't think it's going to end in a big bang. I have faith that we're gonna make it through the rough times, and we're gonna emerge better on the other side.
I think one of the things that people really admire about your dad is how he always pushed the boundaries. And there's one of my favorite clips from this film we're going to share with you from Michelle Nichols that talks about her role and how it changed her life. So I want to share this with you.
Well, Laura, you're the only one to do.
I was pleased that in those days, when you couldn't get even blacks on television, that I not only had a black with a black woman and a black officer.
You are away from your post, Lester.
That'll show.
I told Gene after the end of the first season that I would not be returning to the show.
Be terrified and overwrought.
That I wanted to return to my first love, which is musical theater. But I didn't know that meeting a Star Trek fan would change my life. I was told that fan wanted to meet me, and I turned and looked into the face of Dr. Martin Luther King. I was breathless. He says, yes, I'm the Trekker. I'm a Star Trek fan.
He told her to continue.
And he told me that Star Trek was one of the only shows that his wife, Coretta, and he would allow their little children to stay up and watch. And thanked him, and I told him that I was leaving the show. All the smile came off his face, and he said, you can't do that. He said, don't you understand that for the first time, we are seen as we should be seen? You don't have a black role. You have an equal role. And when I went back to work on Monday morning, I went to his office and what happened over the weekend. And he says, welcome home. We got a lot of work to do.
What are you most proud about from your father?
I gotta say, it's his ability to think beyond the now, to put the pettiness of today aside and really think what we're capable of in the future, and really inspire people to work in that direction. That's for me what's the underlying thing of Star Trek is it's inspiration. It's good science fiction. It's good stories. But the fact throughout my life, the people I've met who have worked beyond their perceived limitations, become astronauts, become scientists, whatever the case may be, these people were inspired by Star Trek. And the fact that a TV show did this is what I'm so proud of. And I'm proud of the name. That's what I want to carry on, that philosophy and that name.
To mention is Rod was very kind. There are never before behind the scenes movies, pictures. They've opened the Roddenberry archives to us, called in friends. So you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff no one's ever seen before. So it's going to be a very special 2-hour celebration November 30th. What I'd love to do now is open questions for everybody that's on the panel. So please give us a big room if you want to step over to the mic. And we've got actually 24 minutes, so we'll take as many as we can. Yes, sir.
Hi, this one's for Rod.
Yes.
What is your favorite Star Trek episode?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, see, I knew someone was going to ask me that because I'm going to get booed out of the room here. I'm a Next Gen fan. I love the original series. I do love the original series, but I was brought up with Next Gen, and there's a bunch of them. Most of the Data episodes are my favorite every time. What is it to be human? I mean, the classic Pinocchio ideas. Those are the ones that I love the most. Ship in a bottle. What's the one with the flute? Darmok.
Which one?
Yeah, Inner Life. Thank you. Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Sorry.
Next question.
Hi, I have a question for Dr. Kaku. How do you feel shows like on the Science Channel and the Discovery Networks have changed the perception of science and academia?
How have shows on Discovery, Science, and a lot of our competitors changed the perception of science and academia? In academia, or the perception of science overall?
The perception of science.
Science overall. How do, in general, how has entertainment, so Science Channel, Discovery Channel, our other networks that are out there, how has it changed the perception of science?
Well, in academia, we tend to be very narrow and very focused, and most of us don't even watch TV at all. However, when we were young, that's when we had this epiphany, this existential shock, realizing that science was going to be our life. And that's where the Discovery Channel and the Science Channel comes in, because we grab people by the lapels when they're young, when they're first forming their viewpoint of the world. And we grab them. We grab their imagination, their curiosity, their passion, and then they see themselves, they can really see themselves performing science as scientists. And so I think in academia, when we look at the Discovery Channel and the Science Channel, we see them in some sense as nurseries for the next generation of people. And also, we also have to realize that, let's face it, we have budgets in academia that have to be met, and the Cold War can no longer give us the next generation of atom smashers and reactors and stuff like that. During the Cold War, we would go to Congress and say one word, and we would get funded. That one word was Russia. And then Congress would say to us 2 words, how much? Okay? Those days are gone. Okay? Now we scientists have to learn how to sing for our supper. We have to learn to engage the taxpayer. We have to learn how to show people that science has changed their life, that science is the engine of prosperity, and that science really has changed the way we look at the world and the economy. Jobs come from science. Politics, unfortunately, is mainly a question of taking the pie and cutting it thinner and thinner and thinner, because most politicians are lawyers, and lawyers see the world as a zero-sum game. You rob Peter to pay Paul, it's all tax policy. That's not how scientists view the economy. We view the economy as getting a bigger pie. Why fight for smaller and smaller pieces of the pie when a transistor, a laser, a computer, an internet, a GPS can create entire industries? And so that's why scientists in academia view Science Channel and Science Channel as very important to educate the taxpayer about the importance of funding science, because ultimately that's where all prosperity comes from.
I'm just going to follow up on that. We do a lot of work, obviously, telling stories in science, and something I'm really proud to see is over the last 3 years, as a requirement, a lot of university has added drama, communication, PR to the curriculum so that scientists can not have the party for one in their head. They can articulate all the amazing things they're doing to make it personal for the audience so that they go on that mind trip with you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next question.